5 teenage boys in York are accused of sexually assaulting a teen girl in Vaughan. We are live with the latest tonight.
And a man in his 20s is the city's latest murder victim as the search for suspect continues tonight.
And he's known as the godfather of AI. A Canadian has won the Nobel Prize in physics. Our conversation with Geoffrey Hinton coming out.
And Toronto's top auditor releases a scathing report on park maintenance workers, revealing major issues were found with daily logs.
You're watching Live at 5.
Good evening. I'm Bakari Sack.
And I'm Lena Latifat. Thank you for joining us here on Live at 5. York Regional Police are looking for 5 teen boys in a reported sex assault of a teen girl in Vaughan.
CP24's Melissa Duggan joins us live with this story. Melissa.
Hey there, Bakari. So right now, police are looking for any information, any tips from the public that might lead them to these 5 suspects that they're looking for. As you mentioned, 5 teenage boys are wanted, suspected in the sexual assault of a girl. What we're hearing from police is that officers were called to the area where I am right now, roughly, Jane and Norwood, just before 1 a.m. on Sunday morning. They say it was in this area where this group of boys approached a girl, brought her to a secondary location. That is where the sexual assault occurred, they said. And now York Regional Police's Special Victims Unit is investigating, again, looking for any information that might lead them to these suspects. We do have some descriptions of the boys that they're looking for. They're described as between the ages of 15 to 18 years old. One suspect last seen wearing a red crew neck sweatshirt and red pants. Another possibly wearing a gray Nike sweatshirt, and a third suspect possibly wearing a black Nike sweatshirt, and another wearing a white t-shirt with a design on it, possibly the brand Supreme. Officers also describing a 5th suspect as having dreadlocks that extended to his eyebrows. He was wearing black pants and a dark colored hoodie. So if anyone might have seen this group of boys in this area, again, Jane and Norwood, this is in the Vaughan area, certainly a busy area as well. Just across from us here is Canada's Wonderland, but police making it very clear that none of the people involved has any connection to Canada's Wonderland. Nobody was at the attraction that evening. There's also a strip mall to one side of me, a bank to the other, and again, obviously a very busy roadway here in Vaughan. So if anyone might have seen the suspects, again, between midnight, they're saying, on Saturday night to 1 a.m. on Sunday, to give police a call, or Crime Stoppers as well. Back to you.
Okay, CP24's Melissa Duggan, thank you. Well, police are continuing their investigation. This is into a deadly shooting near Black Creek Drive in Trethewey.
Yeah, a man in his 20s died in hospital after he was shot on Clearview Heights Drive just after 8 o'clock last night. He was found outside an apartment building. Police were at the scene overnight collecting forensic evidence. So far, there's no suspect information.
It's so terrible in an environment like this. Apart from this house, so the labor, they won't feel comfortable for this to be happening. Like as you just told me now. So now, it's like something is not secure anymore. So that's one need to be very careful. Because I can't say actually what happened to cause all such things.
I came from work and I heard 2 gunshots. 2 loud explosions in the building, and when I look out the window, I saw somebody going out of the building, and then they collapsed in the parking lot.
You saw the victim on the ground?
I saw him on the ground, collapse on the ground.
The frustration is that every kid from everywhere come hang out here, and it's not right. They don't live here. They play high music, volume music when people work. It's peer working people in there. Nobody sells drugs in here. So you inconvenience the tenant by having a loud noise. You cannot speak to these people. I asked the owner to put camera so long in here, and nobody does. Nobody make no move.
Police continue to appeal for information. They can be reached at 12 Division or through Crime Stoppers.
Well, also making news tonight, police are investigating after shots were fired in the West End overnight.
So officers were called to the Bloor and Delaware Avenue area. This is east of Dovercourt. This is just after 1:30 in the morning. Evidence of gunfire was found outside a building, while a parked vehicle was also located with bullet holes. No injuries have been reported, but anyone with information, you're asked to call police.
Peter Nyard has been denied bail as he appeals his sex assault conviction and prison sentence in Toronto.
The former fashion mogul was convicted of 4 counts of sexual assault last year and given an 11-year sentence. He was expected to spend less than 7 of those years behind bars when given credit for time already spent in custody. Well, Nyard's lawyers argued that the prison term was excessive and claimed the trial judge made several errors. The Court of Appeal judge dismissed the bail application, saying that the 83-year-old's appeal appears weak and he presents a flight risk.
And a warning now, as viewers may find some details in this next story disturbing. OPP officers, they've made an arrest in a disturbing animal cruelty investigation. This happened in Orillia.
Officers were called to a parking lot at Colburn Street and West Street September 16th for reports that a cat was on fire. When they arrived, the cat was dead. An accelerant was found on the scene. They did release this video of a suspect seen in the area around the same time. Today, we learned a 29-year-old Orillia man has been arrested, charged with arson, mischief, and cruelty to animals causing unnecessary pain, suffering, or injury. But it's still not clear who the cat belonged to.
Well, Durham police are looking for multiple suspects in an arson investigation in Oshawa.
The fire caused an estimated $2 million in damage to several homes on Eddystone Path near Harmony Road and Olive Avenue. So police say that the fire was set around 5:10 Sunday morning. Investigators are asking residents in the area who have security cameras to check their footage and report anything suspicious. No one was hurt.
It is 5:06, 14 degrees tonight, feeling like it as well. Let's get a check on that evening commute. Lisa Morales keeping a close eye on how that's going. Hey there, Lisa. Things aren't looking good.
Not a great afternoon, Lena and Bakari. Unfortunately, it has been very, very busy. We had some rain move through the region earlier. Let's get to some ongoing issues. If you normally use Lakeshore to get into downtown, you might not want to, because East Lakeshore approaching Jameson, we have only the left lane available. Multiple crews on scene for this collision. And then through Mississauga, some new problems. QEW Toronto bound past here, Ontario. Left lane is out with a collision. You can see slowing things Niagara bound as well. Up to the 401, this is a long-standing collision in the express past Avenue Road. Left lane remains blocked. And then if your travels take you out of Burlington, West 403 jam-packed all the way out past Waterdown Road. It's single file for a collision. The ramp from southbound Waterdown to the West 403, that's partially blocked too. Off the major routes, though, I do have some very good news. A lengthy collision investigation has cleared. Westbound Steeles reopened at Yonge. Send it back to you, Lena and Bakari.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
Toronto's Auditor General is raising questions about how well the city is managing its parks.
Yeah, and for a closer look at this, let's go live to CP24's Andrew Brennan in the Yonge and Eglinton area tonight. So we're hearing from the AG. We're also hearing from the union defending its workers this evening, Andrew.
Yeah. We are, Lena, Bakari. We'll get to that in 1 second. So let's just break down a little bit about what's in the report and also, again, the responses that we're getting. So this report looked at a way of being able to compare the logged information that came from crews at Parks and Rec versus what the GPS data for the vehicles they drive had. And as there, in a lot of cases, what it showed is when workers would say that they were on location inside parks around the city for 4 of 8 hours of a day, the data from the GPS showed that they were in fact there or had their vehicles parked at the parks in our city for roughly 2.5 hours. So that is a substantial difference. It also showed, just looking at the logs reviewed, in 80% of cases, the GPS data showed vehicles parked at sites not at parks, but other places, elsewhere, grocery stores, restaurants, malls, and the like, where there are no parks. So we did hear earlier, not only from some councillors that are on the audit committee, like Councillor Stephen Holiday, but you did mention the union. We'll get to that in a second.
It's both frustrating and disappointing because this seems like an old story. And it's not just something that plagues the city of Toronto, but many large organizations where there's a lot of workers. There are a limited number of supervisors and people are out working in the field. And so the Auditor General has identified some classic issues, right? Timesheets and records that don't necessarily line up with GPS records.
So hearing from the mayor's office, Olivia Chow's office, saying that the mayor thinks that the findings of the Auditor General are deeply concerning and people deserve park amenities that are well maintained so they can be used and enjoyed. And we have heard as well from the union representing parks, forestry and recreational workers. They are saying that while the report highlights important issues, it reflects just one aspect of what they say is a much larger picture, with our members, they say, often facing significant challenges at work, including operational gridlock and broken down equipment. But what was shown in that report is how often it seems, at least again based on the findings of this report, that things like garbage cans were not emptied, that there was not maintenance done around pools and the like. And this is something that the mayor's office says needs to be tackled by herself and council. I'll send it back to you both.
All right, Andrew Brennan reporting live tonight. Andrew, thanks so much. It is 5:10, 14 degrees. You're watching Live at 5.
On a 12-hour vigil by pro-Palestinian coalition, it continues at Nathan Phillips Square to mark 1 year since Israel declared war on Hamas. More on this next. A University of Toronto researcher has won the Nobel Prize in Physics for trailblazing work in the field of artificial intelligence. And Lena, he's donating his prize money to charity.
He sure is. Geoffrey Hinton shares the prize along with Princeton University researcher John Hopfield. They're honored for their efforts in helping to develop the foundations of machine learning and artificial intelligence. And we had the chance to catch up with Hinton. He joined us from California, and he talked about what this win means for him. He also talked about his research. Take a listen.
The achievement was getting AI to work. And AI is going to do wonderful things. In medicine, for example, it's going to give us much better health care. I mean, imagine going to a family doctor who'd seen 100 million patients and knew everything about you, all the tests you'd ever had, your genome, all the tests your relatives have ever had, and that would be amazing. So it's going to do wonderful things in areas like healthcare, but it's also going to be very powerful. And in maybe sometime in the next 20 years, it'll get to be smarter than us, and we don't know what's going to happen then.
Hinton has also voiced concerns about AI. He previously worked for Google, but left last year, citing a desire to freely discuss the implications of deep learning and artificial intelligence if it were utilized by bad actors.
Well, more women in Ontario are now able to book publicly funded breast cancer screenings without a doctor's referral.
This could be game-changing. The change to lower the age for mammogram self-referrals from 50 to 40, that went into effect today. Women who are 40 or older can now schedule an appointment by calling any Ontario breast screening program location. Again, you do not need that doctor's referral anymore. The province is spending almost $20 million to increase the availability of appointments and train more staff. It estimates dropping the age requirement will give an additional 1 million women access to services to detect and treat breast cancer much sooner.
Well, today marks 1 year since Israel declared war on Hamas, and a day-long protest is being held at Nathan Phillips Square to mark the occasion.
A coalition of neighboring groups is holding a 12-hour vigil to protest the ongoing Israeli campaign in Gaza. Health officials there say the Israeli operations have killed 42,000 people in the last year, destroyed large areas, and displaced around 90% of its population. Organizers say the event will feature speakers including Indigenous, Palestinian, Jewish, and Sudanese community members, healthcare workers, and labor organizers.
Some of what I saw was certainly the amputations, including multiple limbs. Some patients have lost eyeballs. Some patients had orthopedic fixation devices in that they couldn't even remove from a surgeon because Al Nasser Hospital at the time was surrounded by tanks and then besieged later on. Al Shifa Hospital was completely out of commission at that point as well. And we saw also multiple kinds of infections, lung infections, gastrointestinal infections, wound infections. And there were no antibiotics at the clinics when we first arrived. What I think was most shocking for me was seeing the level of forced starvation and dehydration that patients experienced.
we started a collective where we have 3 fronts. We are in Toronto, Cairo, and Gaza, and none of us would be able to do the work without the other fronts supporting it. And essentially what we do is that we raise funds over here in Toronto, and then we send them to Cairo, which is where one of our comrades is, and she is distributing direct cash aid to Palestinian families who evacuated from Gaza and are now trying to rebuild their lives in Cairo. And then the third front of our organization is located actually inside the Gaza Strip. We have someone where we are able to send him cash directly, and he uses that to organize different programs within the Gaza Strip with his own community.
Okay, so this was last night where thousands of people attended a vigil to mark the first anniversary of the Hamas terror attack on Israel. Some held Israeli flags, while others carried photos of hostages. The Hamas attack killed 1,200 people, and another 250 were taken hostage. About 100 are believed to still be alive and held by Hamas.
A grim anniversary. It's 5:17, 14 degrees. You're watching Live at 5.
Well, Florida residents are preparing for Hurricane Milton. This comes just weeks after Hurricane Helene hit. The latest on the storm system coming up. Okay, people in Florida, they're racing to prepare for Hurricane Milton, which is forecast to make landfall on the west central coast. This should be tomorrow night.
Yeah, we're tracking this very closely for you. Motorists are finding long lines and empty pumps at gas stations around Tampa. These are pictures coming in from there. The Florida Highway Patrol has been reporting heavy traffic patterns are northbound and eastbound on all roadways. Troopers have been escorting fuel tankers. This is to assist with delivery of gasoline, while state officials say gasoline and diesel shipments are headed to Florida.
To be honest with you, if you're going to get gas, just get enough to sustain you for a period of time. And if you have generators, that's what everybody really should be doing. Try to get some gas, but because the situation is what it is right now, it's not going to be fruitful for everybody, you know.
It's a little aggravating. You got to have patience. A little aggravating. You got to be patient and just, determined and just have grace.
I wouldn't say it's frustrating. It's understandable. It's just the way it is. So, just hopefully people have patience and respect, courtesy, and all that stuff.
There are also long lines at stores and empty shelves. Residents have been buying material to protect their homes, along with food, water, and other supplies. 11 Florida counties are under mandatory evacuation orders. That's about 5.9 million people. The storm is still several hundred kilometers southwest of Tampa, with maximum sustained winds of 250 kilometers an hour. Forecasters say it will remain an extremely dangerous hurricane through landfall.
We're sandbagging all of the doors, all the doorways, and basically that's it. We just want to try to make sure nothing does get into the house.
We got water, we got gas, we got food. And I work at Lowe's, so I always talk to people at Lowe's, give me an idea what we need to do and what not to do. So we try to stay prepared. I think we prepared.
So as you just saw there, residents, they're certainly preparing. And Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis also preparing for this. He provided an update this morning.
We have 51 counties currently under a state of emergency. As of the 5 a.m. advisory, Hurricane Milton is still a major hurricane. It is no longer a Category 5, but it potentially could strengthen back to that as it makes its approach to the state of Florida. Maximum sustained winds are in excess of 150 miles an hour. Now, their forecasts do call for it to weaken before it gets to landfall, and maybe that's true. Let's hope it's true. Maybe it's not, but even if it does weaken, you're still looking at a major hurricane. It is going to have really, really significant impacts.
Okay, so at the same time, U.S. President Joe Biden is calling on those who are in the hurricane's path to heed the warnings to get to safety.
The current path of the storm is expected to Tampa Bay area and cut directly across the state, east to west, all the way across the state, with the potential for this storm to both enter Florida as a hurricane and leave Florida as a hurricane on the Atlantic coast. This could be the worst storm to hit Florida in over a century. And God willing, it won't be, but that's what it's looking like right now.
So everybody bracing for impact. Orlando is also in the path of this storm. Roads were jammed today with people leaving. Disney World and Universal Studios plan to close tomorrow afternoon, and they will remain closed on Thursday. Now, Orlando International Airport says it will cease operations tomorrow morning as well.
Right now it's 5:23, 14 degrees. This is Live at 5.
A BC couple is offering a special reward to help find their lost dog. Taylor Swift tickets as well. That's on the line. More on that coming up next.
And the Leafs hit the ice, and they actually had a chance to talk to the media today ahead of their season opener tomorrow in Montreal.
Yeah, let's bring in CP24's Phil Perkins tonight for more on how the team is feeling about the upcoming season. Phil.
Lena Bakar, I wish I was there to watch them practice, to get the vibes, to see if the vibes are good heading into the 2024-25 season. But really, it's kind of the same cast of characters. Austin Matthews, he's wearing the C on his chest now. Mitch Marner, still a Toronto Maple Leaf. Willie Nylander, a lot of people got to know him a little bit more in that Prime documentary. Joseph Woll, he's your starting goalie as of right now, unless a free agent pickup, Anthony Stolarz, who just won a cup with the Florida Panthers, pushes him out of that role. But the real big addition is at the head coaching position. Craig Berube, he won the cup with the St. Louis Blues back in 2019. He is a very large individual, and that's his philosophy on the ice, being very aggressive with the forecheck, going north-south. Even Ryan Reeves told NHL.com that he experienced one of the toughest training camps under Berube just a couple days ago. And so here is Austin Matthews, the new captain, talking about the new season where everybody is undefeated right now.
That's obviously the goal, is to make the dance. So, you got to have a good regular season to get there. And that's the focus, where we're at. We just want to continue to build our game now and throughout the next couple months and put ourselves in a position to obviously get there. But that's not something we're really looking too far ahead at.
All right, well, the puck drop to their regular season starts tomorrow night in Montreal. Then they go to New Jersey, take on Sheldon Keefe, and then they're back on Saturday, Thanksgiving weekend, taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Can't wait.
All right, Phil, I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm not
excited?
Feeling anything.
What?
Phil says he's not feeling
What do
anything.
you mean?
That's
Look,
probably
guys,
because he's nervous.
I'm friends with Tottenham Hotspur, the Carolina Panthers. I'm used to being upset, so I'm having no expectations right now.
You know what? That might be a good way to go into it.
Real way to go.
Try something
You know what?
new.
You can sell it. I'm not buying it.
Okay, you're not picking up what I'm putting
Nope.
down? No? Okay.
All right,
That's fine.
we'll wait and see what happens. Phil, thanks so much for this. Well, a British Columbia couple is offering a hefty reward to find their lost dog.
So, George, a Great Pyrenees mix, it ran away during a hike on a trail in Abbotsford. Hasn't been seen for nearly 3 weeks. So, Dustin and Holly Gilding, they're hoping to bring him home by offering up their Taylor Swift concert tickets for her final Eras Tour concert at BC Place.
Resale value is high. The value of going to the show is high, but at the end of the day, I don't think there's really any reasonable price that we wouldn't pay if somebody had information to lead us to George.
They believe someone may have taken George, or he could be surviving in the forest. The tickets are for Swift's show on December 8th. Hoping for the best outcome. Hope he's found soon.
It's 5:28, 14 degrees. This is Live at 5.
A new park that pays tribute to Toronto's trash pandas is being officially unveiled in the Yonge and Eglinton neighborhood. There's Councillor Josh Matlow. We'll take you there live in minutes. Stay with us.
5 teenage boys in York are accused of sexually assaulting a teen girl in Vaughan. We're live with the details.
A man in his 20s is the city's latest murder victim as the search for suspects continues tonight.
And starting today, women in their 40s can book a mammogram in Ontario without a doctor's referral. We're going to have reaction coming up.
And Toronto's top auditor releases a scathing report on park maintenance workers, revealing major issues were found with daily logs.
This is Live at 5.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Lena Ladifat.
And I'm Bakari Savage. York Regional Police are looking for 5 teenage boys in a reported sexual assault of a teen girl in Vaughan.
CP24's Melissa Duggan joins us live with the latest on this. Melissa, what are investigators saying about this?
Yeah, investigators describing a frightening scene. They say a girl was approached by a group of boys. This happened, they were called to the scene early Sunday morning. She didn't know this group of boys. Police say she was taken to a secondary location, and that's where she was sexually assaulted. So I'm in Vaughan right now. This is where police say they were called to just before 1 a.m. on Sunday morning near Jane and Norwood. No exact details of where they're saying this happened, neither the first nor the secondary location. The only details that we are getting from police at this time are some kind of broad descriptions of the suspects they're looking for, and they're hoping this might jog someone's memory, and that some member of the public will reach out to police or Crime Stoppers to help them find the suspect that they're looking for. So I want to share some of those descriptions with you. A suspect number 1 described as male, white, 15 to 18 years old, last seen wearing a red crew neck sweatshirt, red pants. Suspect number 2, male, black. Should mention that all of these boys they're looking for between the ages of 15 and 18. The second suspect last seen possibly wearing a gray Nike sweatshirt. The third suspect, male, black, 15 to 18, dreadlocks that extend to his eyebrows. Last seen wearing a dark colored denim tears hooded sweatshirt, black pants. Suspect number 4, he's described as male, black, 15 to 18, last seen possibly wearing a black Nike sweatshirt. And suspect number 5, male, black, 15 to 18, last seen wearing a white T-shirt with a design on it, possibly with the word Supreme. Now, again, the victim in this case, police saying she did not know this group of teenage boys. They're saying at least 5 of these boys were involved in this incident. And they're saying anyone who might have seen anything in this area, just to kind of paint a picture for you right now, it is certainly a busy area. We have Canada's Wonderland to one side of us over here. Police making it very clear that this incident has nothing to do with Canada's Wonderland whatsoever. On the other side of me here, there is a strip mall. There's a bank on the other side. And even though this would have happened, in the middle of the night, you expect that some traffic would have been in the area. So they're saying that anyone who might have been in this area might have some dash cam footage between midnight Saturday and 1 a.m. on Sunday. You're being urged to reach out to York Police or Crime Stoppers and share those details. Back to you inside.
Melissa Duggan reporting in York Region tonight. Melissa, thanks so much for this. Well, police are continuing their investigation into a deadly shooting near Black Creek Drive and Trethewey.
A man in his 20s died in hospital after he was shot on Clearview Heights Drive just after 8 o'clock last night. He was found outside an apartment building. So far, there's no suspect information.
I see another one because it's been happening so often, up there, down here, all over. So all I said is another one gone. The sound of the bullet is not no heck or nothing. It's solid hit. You can know the difference when it's just playing around. Another one gone. It's sad.
Is it frustrating as a resident?
Way frustrated.
What do you think should happen? Should politicians get involved? Should you see more police surveillance?
Whatever it takes to get a camera here.
The paramedic come and gave him CPR and they took him away.
Scary for you to see all this.
It's scary. Yeah, I just came from work. Yeah.
And the victim, did he look young?
Yeah, he was a young guy, maybe in his 20s. Mm-hmm.
Hard for this neighborhood to cope with.
It's hard. It's hard. It's hard.
I need to walk through this pavement. I was just walking and I saw cars in front of my house too. So I need to look around. I don't see anyone to ask. I saw cars and I can't be asking them. So I managed to enter into my room. So until this morning I came out, I still see the cops again, so nothing I can do.
Yeah, just scary, obviously.
Yeah, so scary.
And police continue to appeal for information. They can be reached at 12 Division or through Crime Stoppers.
Well, police are investigating after shots were fired in the West End overnight.
Officers were called to the Bloor and Delaware Avenue area east of Dovercourt. This is just after 1:30 in the morning. Evidence of gunfire was found outside a building while a parked vehicle was also located with bullet holes. No injuries have been reported. Anyone with information is asked to call police.
Well, Peter Nyard has been denied bail as he appeals his sex assault conviction and prison sentence in Toronto. The former fashion mogul was convicted of 4 counts of sexual assault last year and given an 11-year sentence. He was expected to spend less than 7 years behind bars when given credit for time already spent in custody. Nyard's lawyers argued the prison term was excessive and claimed the trial judge made a number of errors. The Court of Appeal judge dismissed the bail application, saying the 83-year-old's appeal appears weak and he presents a flight risk.
And OPP officers have made an arrest in a disturbing animal cruelty investigation in Aurelia. Officers were called to a parking lot at Colburn Street and West Street September 16th for reports that a cat was on fire. When they got there, the cat was dead. An accelerant was found on the scene. They did release this video of a suspect seen in the area around the same time. Today, we learned that a 29-year-old Aurelia man has been arrested, charged with arson, mischief, and cruelty to animals causing unnecessary pain, suffering, or injury. It's still not clear who the cat belonged to.
Well, Durham police are looking for multiple suspects in an arson investigation in Oshawa this evening. The fire caused an estimated $2 million in damage to several homes on Eddystone Path. That's near Harmony Road and Olive Avenue. Police say the fire was set around 5:10 Sunday morning. Investigators are asking residents in the area who have security cameras to check their footage and report anything suspicious. No injuries were reported.
A woman was sent to hospital after being hit by a vehicle in the city's north end. Chopper 24 was over the scene capturing this footage at Yonge and Still. So police say that the woman in her 60s was hit shortly after 11 a.m. She was taken to hospital with serious injuries. It's not yet known if any charges will be laid.
5:37, 14 degrees. It's been a busy drive in this city. Let's get a check on that with our traffic specialist, Lisa Morales. Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Lena. Hey, Bakari. Yes, no doubt, a very busy afternoon. And in general, just a lot of volume on the major routes. And then in the mix, we have a couple of ongoing issues, although one problem just cleared out of the way. So that's some welcome news. East 401 in the Express, just past Avenue Road. There was a problem in the left lane for a while. It's out of the way, obviously still very slow. Let me show you the westbound side of the 403. New problems in the collectors just past the 401. Looks like we now have a couple of lanes out. OPP on scene with this collision. West 403 jams off the QEW heading into Burlington. Past Waterdown Road, the right lane still blocked. That was some earlier collision cleanup. Into downtown, well, I can't show it to you now, but I can tell you eastbound Lakeshore on the approach to Jameson, we still had only the left lane getting by, and that too was an earlier collision. I'll send it back to you, Lena and Bakari.
All right. Thanks a lot, Lisa.
You're welcome.
With that, it's 5:38, 14 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, the city's auditor, what the city's auditor general found after taking a closer look at the work logs of park staff. Stay with us for that story. Welcome back. A new report from Toronto's Auditor General is raising questions about the amount of work actually being done in city parks.
The Auditor's General report, it looked at daily logs used to schedule and track work done every day and compared them to GPS information. It found 46% of the logs show crews didn't stop at one or more park locations. In 87% of daily logs, there's no way to know whether any work was done. 3/4 of the logs had inaccurate in and out times, and 86% showed city vehicles at locations that were not work-related. In 41% of those instances, the time spent at non-work sites exceeded the allotted 1-hour lunch break. So on average, crews reported spending 4 hours performing park maintenance, but GPS indicates that it's more like 2.5 hours. And the report makes 9 recommendations to address the problem, including strengthening supervision, increasing on-site monitoring, and improving training of supervisors. Well, Councillor Brad Bradford is pointing the finger at Mayor Chow.
I think this is an accountability exercise. I mean, you can't tell us that you're in the parks doing the work and then it turns out, you know, when you say you're going to 8 parks, you're actually only showing up at 3. When you're taking a break that's 2.5 hours on an 8-hour shift, that's obviously not acceptable. When you're going back to the yard 3 hours early, that's not what we're paying for. There's a lot of really fantastic folks that make a career out of working at the City of Toronto. We need those frontline services. We need to make those investments. But at the same time, we need to make sure that we are having the performance of the job that taxpayers are paying for.
And a statement from a spokesperson for Mayor Olivia Chow reads, the mayor thinks the findings by the Auditor General are deeply concerning, as people deserve park amenities that are well maintained so they can be used and enjoyed. Now, the Toronto Civic Employees Union released a statement as well, saying while the report highlights some important issues, It's just one part of a bigger picture. That statement goes on to say our members often face significant challenges at work, including operational gridlock and broken down equipment. Despite these obstacles, we are extremely proud in what our members do to keep Toronto's parks clean and beautiful. We are committed to addressing the concerns raised in the audit during our upcoming bargaining sessions with the City of Toronto, focusing on practical solutions that support our members.
A new park that pays tribute to Toronto's trash pandas is being officially unveiled in the Yonge and Eglinton neighborhood.
Let's go live to CP24's Andrew Brennan. First question for you. What's it called?
What is it called? I don't know. What is this? What's that? What is that? It's a giant trash panda. No, it's a raccoon. Okay, just to explain where this is all coming from. Do you guys remember the memes about trash pandas? You know where I sit on this issue. But someone who's trying to give the raccoons a place in life and location. Did you want to make sure that raccoons and, well, young humans had a place to go?
You are intentionally instigating controversy. This is an overture to the raccoons of our city. We've named this new playground at Yonge and Eglinton Raccoon Park. Well, first of all, we created this playground because our kids need places to play. We're a growing community, and it shouldn't just be about housing or no housing. It should be housing with school capacity, infrastructure, and parks, and this is why we created Raccoon Park. And yes, some people love raccoons, some people don't like raccoons, and my message to all the raccoons in Toronto is make peace with us, just stop knocking down our garbage cans. We've named a playground for you. It's time to resolve our differences and allow our kids to play.
It seems like they're doing a good job. Hey kids, do we like Raccoon Park?
Yeah!
Okay, that's decent enough. That's scientific. All right.
It all worked out.
It did all work out. Okay, so just to simplify a few things that happened here, this has been 7 years in the making, 7 years?
Yeah, over 7 years.
And just so we also know, in terms of trying to make us part of the city like this that is almost feels like an urban gridlock at times.
Yeah.
What is important about having places like this for years to come?
It's critical. I mean, there is going to be growth in Midtown Toronto like there is in other areas of our city, but it can't just be reacting to growth. It's got to be, we need housing, affordable housing. We also need, places for our kids to play. We need basketball courts. We need places for the little ones to play. We need infrastructure. We need school capacity, childcare, social services. And so our plan here at Yonge and Eglinton is to make sure that, yes, while we set back the growth here, we have parks and playgrounds both for the existing residents, but also places for all the new residents to come and bring their kids too.
And the pandas. We're going to wrap up now.
Raccoons.
Sorry, trash. No, never mind. Raccoons. Okay, back to you guys before I get in trouble.
Raccoons, not pandas. Don't get it twisted, Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew, I applaud this park, but I think that if we had this park, the movie Over the Hedge, the DreamWorks movie, it never would have been. So, I don't know, bittersweet.
All right, Andrew Brennan reporting live. Thanks so much, Andrew. Well, a University of Toronto researcher has won the Nobel Prize in Physics for trailblazing work in the field of artificial intelligence.
Geoffrey Hinton shares the prize along with Princeton University researcher John Hopfield. They are honored for their efforts in helping to develop the foundations of machine learning and artificial intelligence. Well, Hinton talked to us this morning from California about his unexpected win.
My phone buzzed at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I thought, should I answer that? And luckily, I decided to answer it.
And what did the voice on the other line say? Like, could you talk about how that conversation went?
Yes, he had a Swedish accent, and it was a call from Sweden. But my first thought was, how do I know this isn't a spoof call? Because I really wasn't expecting it.
Hinton has also voiced concerns about artificial intelligence. He previously worked for Google, but left last year, citing a desire to freely discuss the implications of deep learning and AI if it were utilized by what he calls bad actors.
It's 5:47, 14 degrees. This is Live at 5.
As of today, more women in this province are able to book mammograms without a doctor's referral. Could this be game-changing? We're going to hear from an expert next.
More women in Ontario are now able to book publicly funded breast cancer screenings without a doctor's referral.
Yeah, the province has lowered the age for mammogram self-referrals from 50 to 40 now. That's something advocates and experts have been calling for a long time. And for a closer look at what this really means, we're joined live tonight by Kimberly Carson, the CEO of Breast Cancer Canada. Kimberly, it's great to see you, and thanks so much for joining us. Look, we know early detection is everything when it comes to cancer. What do you think this is going to mean for outcomes?
Oh, my goodness. We applaud the province of Ontario for taking this initiative and this step. It's just an amazing outcome for the announcement that they did make a few months back. We know that the earlier that we catch breast cancer diagnosis, the better the outcomes. So, the investment into women's lives in the province of Ontario speaks volumes.
So how does this reflect both research as well as what patients are saying? Families where you have multiple women who are battling breast cancer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are some instances where breast cancer is in a family, but, there's a lot of breast cancer that is not in a family, and you really need to know your own breast health. If you detect changes, you really need to get that mammogram done as soon as possible, and without having to go through the referral of a doctor to say it's okay. So, there's been a recent study that just actually was announced a few weeks ago from the American Cancer Society, noting that the incidence of breast cancer is starting at a lower age. So, to be proactive on this, we really applaud the Ontario government for taking this step.
Yeah, Kimberly, we've heard from a number of women who say that navigating the healthcare system can be challenging, and younger women often struggle to convince their general practitioners or family docs that they may need to be screened for breast cancer. What is this going to mean for those women who want to be believed when they're experiencing symptoms?
Yeah, I think that's a very important point. Knowing your own breast health and then being able to go and get that mammogram is going to make all of the difference for those women. We know that if we catch it later, it's much more invasive. It's much more treatment. It's harder on the system. It's harder on the person and their family. Catching it early is going to make a big difference. And without having to do that, physician referral and having that, that barrier in place makes it difficult. We hear from women every day that had a hard time convincing their doctor that there was something different in their breast health. And women know their breast health, and we encourage women to know their breast health and advocate for themselves. So, this is a phenomenal outcome for the province of Ontario.
Okay, Kimberly Carson, CEO of Breast Cancer Canada. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Kimberly. We appreciate this. It's now 5:53, 14 degrees. You're watching Live at 5.
Well, the Leafs practice today ahead of their season opener tomorrow. CP24's Phil Perkins is joining us live in studio with more on what the team has to do this year. The Leafs hit the ice and they spoke to the media today. This is ahead of their season opener tomorrow in Montreal.
Here we go again. Let's bring in CP24's Phil Perkins for more on how the team is feeling about the upcoming season. First question for you.
Yeah.
How should Leaf Nation be feeling about this? Should there be hope, Phil?
Well, there weren't big losses.
Yeah.
Ilya Samsonov, the goalie last year, he is no longer here. He's with the Vegas Golden Knights. So you got Joseph Woll, who was kind of a fan favorite during the playoffs last year, albeit they lost in Game 7 against the Boston Bruins again. But he seems to be the number one goalie right now. Anthony Stolarz, who won Lord Stanley's Cup last year with the Florida Panthers, backing up Sergei Bobrovsky. He could be a big addition as well. Hey, and if you're a Toronto person, you're from East York in particular, a graduate of East York Collegiate, Chris Tanev just signed a 6-year deal with the team, 34-year-old, hard-nosed. He could be opposite Morgan Riley. So, there's some new faces and new places that you could be interested in and kind of jazz you up a little bit. But besides that, it's the same cast of characters: Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, Willie Nylander, John Tavares. Maybe yet another year of them together could make beautiful things in the postseason. But really, Craig Berube, the new head coach, he is the straw that will stir this drink. He is physically a large human being, massive hands, and so that's kind of his style of hockey. He is going to be very physical, very aggressive on the forecheck, and that could play in the Leafs' hand of trying to beat those playoff narratives that they're kind of, lowercase soft a little bit in the postseason. You saw the Florida Panthers are manhandling teams, and they won the Stanley Cup last year. So here is Coach Berube about the upcoming season.
For sure, you get pumped up. I'm always excited to get going, no matter, every game pretty much. But I'm excited for this one.
What did I say? Short and sweet, aggressive, to the point. So again, puck drop tomorrow against Montreal. Then they go to the Meadowlands, take on Sheldon Keefe, their former coach, and the New Jersey Devils. And then they go back home Saturday during Thanksgiving weekend, taking on Kyle Dubas, their former GM, and the Pittsburgh Penguins. So, well, maybe they'll start the season 3-0. We'll have to see. But again, so early.
Yeah.
And, our friends over at TSN saying the regular season really is just a dress rehearsal for the playoffs. That's when it really matters. So buy it now, get into the system, and then kick it into high gear in the postseason, basically.
Yeah, good point. All right, Phil Perkins live in studio. Thanks so much, Phil.
No problem.
Well, Coldplay has announced they'll be making 2 stops at Toronto's newest music venue.
The band is scheduled for 2 shows in July of 2025 at Rogers Stadium, which is currently being built at the former site of Downsview Airport. The concerts will be part of their Music of the Spheres World Tour. The new venue is set to open a month before Coldplay's performances. General admission tickets go on sale this Friday at noon.
Fans get to enjoy that new venue. It's 5:59, 14 degrees. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
Thank you for watching. CTV News at 6 is next.